What's up guys, Jake Hutton from Fitness Culture. Today, we're gonna be talking about how you can improve your overhead press really quickly. So this is one of my favorite progressions for the overhead press. Let's get into it. All right, so one of the biggest reasons that it's hard to increase your overhead press, and I'm sure you've noticed this, is you add just a small amount of poundage and you shut down. It's one of those lifts where just a tiny bit of weight makes it from being easy to being really, really hard, really fast. And the reason that is because you start from a static position right on your shoulders, and just getting the weight moving is essentially gonna be one of the hardest things, right? So when Sunny's sitting here with their elbows straight down, core's nice and tight, getting it off of her shoulders is gonna be the hardest part of the movement in the overhead press. So the way that we work around that, and the beauty of the overhead press is that it's one of the safest movements to cheat and get it up, and that'd be called a push press, right? So it's an actual lift. You're gonna push press the weight up, and then we're gonna control the eccentric down. And so during this entire cycle, the first few weeks, that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be working on push press. You're gonna drive your legs, explode the weight up, and then really you're gonna be getting all the work for your overhead press on the eccentric part of this movement. So right now, we're gonna go over the points of performance on a push press a little bit, just to give you guys an idea of how to execute it properly. All right, so we're gonna show you what a push press looks like if you haven't done one before. Sonny's gonna step out. The biggest thing on the push press is you wanna make sure that your elbows are down and out, your core's nice and tight, and you're creating a shelf for your shoulders right here, right? Because when you dip down, you're gonna dip down with the weight on your shelf, and then you're really gonna dive or drive through your hips, explode your hips through to initiate that bar off your shoulders. Because this is gonna be, when we do this progression, at some point, this is gonna be heavier than you can press with your just strict overhead press max, and we're gonna be doing it for reps, right? So you're really gonna need to use your legs and your hips to drive that weight up above your head. So core's nice and tight, elbows are down and out, you got it racked up on your shoulders. From there, you wanna dip straight down, knees track over the toes, explode your hips, almost like you're doing a vertical jump, driving those hips all the way through, and then finish through the bar just like Sunny did. So let's do one more, just in full speed. Just gonna dip, drive, good. When we control down the eccentric during this progression, you kinda wanna think of this one, if you really want to transfer over well to your overhead press, you're gonna bring it down in the mechanics that you would on an overhead press. So you're not gonna have your shoulders out as much, you're gonna point them down like when you would start an overhead press, right? You're gonna point them down right here, so you're gonna lower it down like this. So core's gonna be tight, you're gonna squeeze your glutes. So let's get it up to the top real quick. Drive it up. From here, squeeze the glutes, core's nice and tight. Now you're gonna let your elbows come straight down, and you're gonna control it all the way to your chest, nice and slow, and that's where you're gonna get the work right here off your chest, right? From there, you'll re-rack it before you go into your next push press, all right? So now we've gone over that. The most common fault during this movement is people aren't working that last portion. So like right when they hit their eyes, they're gonna drop it to your shoulders. So we'll show you what that looks like. So a lot of the time, let's say it's a 4-second eccentric, people 1, 2, 3, drop, just like that, right? If you want this to transfer over to your overhead press really well, you wanna focus on controlling it all the way down, even spending a little bit more time, honestly, on the way down to your shoulder. That's gonna give you a lot of power off your shoulder once we get into the overhead press portion of the progression. So once we finished our push press progression during the cycle, the next thing we're gonna do is obviously start working with some heavier weights for the overhead press, leading you up to a max week. So we're just gonna go over a couple of points of performance on the overhead press. The biggest things that we see wrong. Number one, people are a little bit too relaxed when they walk into the bar. For me, I found that if I grab the bar and try to break the bar, so basically externally rotate as hard as I can, like this before I step in, it keeps everything nice and tight, and it's almost like a little spring right off my chest to initiate the movement. So try to really make sure you're externally rotated when you're set up. The next thing, once you do get set up and step out, a lot of people, especially if you experience low back pain on this, it's because you just let your core hang out. What's gonna happen right there is you're gonna lose all that power on that initial push, right? Because you're gonna put it into your low back, so all that power is gonna be gone instead of keeping your core tight. So you wanna keep your core as tight as possible, your elbows are gonna be straight down, squeeze your glutes as tight as possible, because that's gonna be protecting your low back, because really on an overhead press, you are gonna lean back just a little bit, right? You're gonna clear your head, lean back just a little bit, try to think about driving your rib cage to your belly button, squeezing your glutes as hard as you can, and then you're gonna drive through the bar, just like that, good. Keep that core tight, squeeze your glutes tight, and then just drive through the bar as hard as you can. All right guys, I hope those little technique tips for the push press and the overhead press will help you clean up your technique a little bit and hopefully help you to hit a PR. And also, we only showed you a little bit, obviously, of this progression. You can click a link in the description and give you the whole progression. So the sets and the weight and kind of how we put it together for a full 10-week cycle. So if you want to check that out, click the link in the description to download it. If you like this content, please leave me a comment on what you want me to cover next, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.